Kate, what's up at this hour? Where are you right now? You ask where I am? I'm on a spa vacation with Luna. Oh, I see. I found everything out when my husband lied to me. My name is Kate. I'm a 30-year-old office worker. I've been married to my husband, Daniel, for 6 years. We have a 6-year-old daughter, Luna, because we married during my pregnancy. Luna is growing up to be a very good girl. Mom, I'll help you. Really? Then can you roll the hamburger patties like this? Yes, I'll do it. There you go. Oh, Luna, you're so good at this. Here's one for Dad, and here's one for Mom. That's a big one for Daddy. Daddy's got a hard day at work, so he's got to eat the big one. Daddy might cry with happiness. While I was enjoying cooking with my daughter, my husband came out of the bath. She hugged him and said, I made your hamburger, Daddy. My husband was also happy and said, Really? I can't wait to eat it. We were spending our days as a very happy family like this. Or so I thought. My husband and I both work, but he works closer to his office than I do, and he does less overtime. For this reason, I often ask my husband to pick up our daughter from kindergarten. But recently, due to various work commitments, he's been coming home late. So I had to pick her up and take her home. I wonder if Daddy doesn't like me anymore. My daughter said sadly on the way home from kindergarten. I guess she misses him because my husband has been picking her up all this time. Besides, it's late at night when he comes home. There's even a day when he doesn't get to see her face. I stroked her head, even though my heart was breaking. Daddy's working very hard for Luna right now. But when he gets settled down, he will be able to spend a lot of time with you. Really? Yes. So let's support him together with Mommy. Okay, I'll cook for him. She's a really good girl. I can't wait until we can eat together as a family again. But a few months later, my husband was still busy with work. He came home late. And no matter how late he used to be, he was always home in time for the last train. But now he comes home at 2 or 3 a.m., or even worse, he takes the first train home in the morning. Hey, are you sure it's work? If you're just out drinking, I wish you'd come home and play with Luna. I couldn't stand it any longer and complained to my husband. My daughter has been left alone by her father for months, and she looks very sad. But my husband didn't like what I said, so he got upset. Huh? What's with that tone of voice? I attend company drinking parties for the sake of my family. It's terrible of you to accuse me of that. Whoa, okay, I'm sorry. But you have to understand that Luna is lonely because she doesn't get to play with her dad. I said this to him, and he shut up and went straight to the bedroom. After that, an awkward atmosphere began to prevail between us. Then, I was told by the company that I needed to go on a short business trip. Depending on the work situation, there are a lot of things I needed to check in person. It seems I'll have to stay at least one night. If it's bad, It might be 2 nights. My first thought was what to do with my daughter. My parents live far away, so it would be difficult for them to come. I would have to rely on my husband, but seeing how busy he's been lately, I don't know if I can trust him with her. But I have no choice but to ask him. So I waited for him to come home. I wondered if he had been drinking as usual, and he came home late. It was way past midnight, and around 3 o'clock, I heard the door unlock. Welcome home. Kate, I didn't know you were still up. My husband didn't expect me to be awake and waiting for him. I waited for you because I wanted to talk to you. Huh? Talk? The moment he came home, my husband was drunk and his face was red. He seemed to have sobered up at once, and now he was pale. He sat down on a chair at the dining table, looking at me. So, what did you want to talk about? It's not such a big deal, but why is he so upset? I told him about my business trip, thinking how strange he was. It was a short notice, but I had to go on a business trip in 2 weeks on Friday. I had to stay at least 1 night, and if I have a lot of work to do, I have to stay 2 nights. Can you take care of Luna during that time? I know you're busy with your work. I said apologetically, and my husband looked relieved. Oh, that's totally fine. Really? Are you okay at work? Of course I'm busy at work, but I should prioritize you and Luna. Oh, how about I take a day off and take Luna on an overnight hot spring trip? I haven't been able to play with Luna lately. I'm sure Luna would love that. I'm glad my husband said that. I knew he cared about our family. Until recently, I was worried about whether he really cared about us or not. But it seems that my fears were unfounded. The next day, on the way to take my daughter to kindergarten, I told her about it. What? Daddy and I can go on a hot spring trip together? My daughter was so happy and excited. Seeing her happy made me happy too. And then the day of the business trip came. It was my first business trip after giving birth to Luna, but it went smoother than I had expected. The people I saw on the business trip were very good and kept everything in order for me to check. The work went by so smoothly that I found myself finishing at 7 p.m. that day. I thought, if I'm already finished, I can go home today. I didn't know if I was staying 1 night or 2 nights without seeing the status of my work. I was planning to spend the first day at a manga cafe instead of staying at a hotel, so there's no cancellation fee for lodging or anything. Now I would be able to make it in time on the last train of the day if I get a ticket. I decided that I wanted to spend a relaxing time at home if I had to. I boarded the train in a hurry and headed home. My husband and daughter must be having a delicious meal at a hotel by now. The image of my daughter looking so happy came to my mind and soothed my heart. Yes, tomorrow morning I would wake up early, make the house spanking clean, and surprise them both. Thinking of this, I returned home around 11 p.m. I wondered why the light was on in the living room. Could it be that my husband forgot to turn it off? With a quizzical look on my face, I went inside the house. There I found my daughter curled up on the sofa, crying. "Oh, Luna, what's wrong?" "Mommy!" "Why are you crying? Where is Daddy?" My husband was nowhere to be seen. I was so upset that I started to ask my daughter questions. Then she told me, "Daddy left in the morning without me." What? What the hell is going on? What was my husband thinking? I was furious at my husband's insane behavior, but I had to calm her down first. I hugged her tightly. "I'm so sorry. I know you were lonely being alone so late at night." As I hugged her and stroked her head, my daughter, perhaps feeling relieved, began to fall asleep in my arms. I guess she was tired of being scared and nervous all the time. I gently carried her into the bedroom. Then I went back into the living room and called my husband. "Kate, why are you calling at this hour?" "Where are you now?" "I'm on a spa trip with Luna." "Why are you whispering?" "Luna is already tired and sleeping. I don't want to wake her up." "Oh, I see. I'm sure she's sleeping, but she's not over there." I figured it all out when my husband lied to me. I was about to lose my temper, but I managed to keep my cool. "How's the trip going?" "I'm having so much fun. I wouldn't mind staying another night. The food is good, and the hot springs are great." "Well, why don't you stay one more night then?" I said so, and my husband sounded like he was having a hard time deciding. "But Kate, you will come home after one night, right? Then you will be lonely all by yourself, so me and Luna will come back tomorrow." I'm sure it's because if I arrive first, I'll find out that he left her daughter at home. I knew exactly what my husband was thinking, so I decided to lie. "Well, I got a lot of work to do, and I'm going to be home later than I planned. I'll have to stay another night. So don't worry about me and enjoy your trip as long as you like." He didn't even question my lie. "Really? Then I'll postpone it for one more night. Luna is very excited. I'll have to give her more time with her daddy. I couldn't give her much attention in the last month." "Well, make sure you call me when you know when you're coming home." My daughter's excited? What are you talking about? She was curled up and crying by herself. I calmed my urge to yell at him and hung up the phone. I'll see to it that he gets punished for the grief he caused my daughter. I called my parents and explained the situation. I quickly started packing up my stuff and called the movers the next morning. Fortunately, there was a company that could come today, so I asked them to move my stuff out. My daughter looked at me strangely as she saw many men coming in and moving things out of the house. I'll have to have a talk with her. "Luna, I have decided not to live with your dad anymore. I don't want you to be sad anymore. I'm going to quit my job and go live with your grandma and grandpa. Then I can spend more time with you." If you come with me to Grandpa and Grandma's house, you won't be able to see your dad anymore. So what do you want to do? I thought it was cruel to ask such a question to my daughter who is only 6 years old. But I wanted to hear her opinion. Will I never see my daddy again? She asked me in a muffled voice. If you really want to see him, I can let you see him once in a while. But he won't be able to live with us anymore. My daughter has done nothing wrong, and I'd like her to at least see him if she wants to. Well, I don't think he'll make the time for her after the divorce anyway, seeing that he went on vacation leaving his own daughter alone at home. As I was thinking about all of this, my daughter seemed to have made up her mind. She looked me straight in the eyes as if she had made up her mind and said, "I'm going with you, Mommy. Daddy probably doesn't care about me." I cried and asked him, "Why are you leaving me?" But he left without answering me. I'm really disgusted of him to make his 6-year-old daughter say things like that just to go on a vacation with his adulterer. He's a lousy man and a lousy father, a lousy piece of trash below the bottom of the barrel. I should have never left my daughter with my husband and gone on a business trip if this was going to happen. Luna, I'm so sorry for making you so sad. I hugged her tightly and we got to work on the move. As for my husband, I would leave the rest to them. With that in mind, I took my daughter and went back to my parents' house. A few hours later, I got a phone call from my husband. "Hey, why is your stuff missing? And Luna's stuff too. What the hell is going on?" "Don't you know why?" "Of course not. Luna's crying because her stuff is gone too." "You still think you can lie to me after all of this?" "It's strange. Luna is now slurping down some noodles which my mother made." "What?" "We already know that you left your daughter and went on a trip with someone else. How could you leave a 6-year-old girl alone at home? You are not qualified as a father. If I hadn't come back on that day, you could have traumatized Luna for her entire life." My husband didn't think I'd already be with my daughter. He's quiet, unable to say anything. "Anyway, you don't care about your daughter and leave her alone just to go to another woman. I can't live with you anymore. I want a divorce." "Divorce? Oh no! Please think about it again." "I can't. I don't want to see you anymore." While my husband and I were on the phone, I heard the doorbell ring many times over the phone. "Oh God, who is it at a time like this?" My husband sounded annoyed. But I knew who it was. "Looks like they've arrived." "Dad and Mom?" I heard my husband's voice over the phone. And a few seconds later, I heard my father-in-law yell, "What the hell are you doing?" And then a few seconds later, I heard a loud noise. Well, that's a start. I guess that was the sound of him getting beaten up. In fact, my father-in-law practiced judo for many years and now he's an advisor at a university. And he loved his granddaughter, Luna, very much. So when I told him about my husband's infidelity and the fact that he left our daughter alone on a trip, he was furious. He told me he was going to beat his rotten guts out of him. So I decided to ask him for a favor. What the hell do you think you're doing with your own daughter? I didn't raise you to be such an asshole. I could hear the thoughts and thoughts over and over again, along with my stepfather's angry voice. It's an apartment, but I'm glad we lived on the first floor. If there are people downstairs, they would have complained. Well, we've already moved out, so it doesn't concern me anymore. My father-in-law seemed to have put my husband a big squeeze on him, both physically and mentally. After that, the divorce settlement went smoothly. I got custody, of course, and alimony and child support were paid in one lump sum. I was able to get alimony from the adulterous partner too. My husband tried to remarry the adulterer, but the affair was just for fun for her. She said he was too serious and dumped him because she didn't want to get married. At work, he feels ashamed of himself for having committed adultery. His parents disowned him, the affair partner left him, and his daughter left him too. So he's left with nothing but debt. He really deserves it. On the other hand, I'm spending happy time with my daughter at my parents' house. My parents are farmers, so I help them. My daughter enjoys eating vegetables from the farm. She seems to like this town where there's a lot of nature. I will continue to put my daughter first in my life. Leaving your young daughter alone on an adulterous trip? You should have gone to the police and had your husband arrested. I hope Luna isn't too heartbroken. Still, it's a nice feeling that your husband finally lost everything. Kate, I hope you stay happy with your daughter.